I'm Bill Bland and this is 5 Minute Money. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the IRS. Now that name can strike fear in the hearts of a lot of people. The IRS has so much reaching power. It is one of the hugest costs of taxes. It's one of the huge costs in our life today. There's gas tax, there's sales tax, there's state tax, there's fees, there's tax on top of tax, and of course there's the federal income tax. Now we're going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to address some of the common misconceptions about the IRS and about taxes in general. Number one, yes, it is a huge expense. It's a gigantic cost in our life. If you look at what you pay in taxes, it is an enormous amount. Top tax range, I believe, is about 28%. When Reagan took over, the top tax range was, I believe, 70%, and the highest it's ever been has actually been around 95% in our country, above a certain amount of income. These different tax tiers, where if you make more money, you end up having to cost a greater and greater percentage of each dollar you make. It's really a disincentive to earn money and to make more money. Here's what we've got. Some of the misconceptions is that a lot of people believe it is against the law not to pay taxes. Well, that's strictly not true. You can owe the government money and not pay those taxes and not go to jail. We don't have debtor's prison here. Now, what is against the law is to not file or to file fraudulently. That's against the law also. But to do everything right and not be able to pay the taxes, they'll figure out a way to get the money from you. They'll put a lien on you personally or on your property. They will garnish your wages. They'll do a lot of other things, but you aren't going to go to jail over it. It's only if you do something dishonest or illegal will you have a chance of going to jail. Another one of the things is that most people think that IRS, federal income taxes, are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. Well, the truth is they actually can be. One, they have to be 3 years old or older from the time you filed. So you would have had to have filed these taxes at least 3 years ago. That's number one. Number two is that they couldn't have been liened on any real property. So if you have a lien on the property, then that's going to make this where you could not discharge them in bankruptcy. But if they were 3 years old or older, filed, and they were not liened against any real property, they are dischargeable in a bankruptcy, in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. That's one common misconception. Another one is that if, let's say, you're in a situation and maybe they're not 3 years old, maybe they're 2 years old, maybe they're a year old, however long, and there's been no attaching of your personal property, you can do what's called an offer and compromise, where you work it out with the IRS, where let's say you owe them $100,000, and you start off and you say, well, I don't have $100,000, I have, $2,000. And that goes back and forth, and the process generally takes about 6 months, and you'll come to some amount of money that you actually can come up with, because it's in the government's interest to get you back paying taxes regularly, as opposed to if you owe a bunch of money and you have all these liens and you're upside down. We tend to want to become an underground economy. We don't want to report things. We want to hide. We want to do that. That's not in the government's interest as far as having us be taxpayers and continually being a revenue stream. So in that situation, they would rather do an offer and compromise, wipe out whatever you used to owe, pay what you can pay, and then get you back on there where you were paying regularly and you were filing your taxes regularly. Another thing you can do is if you can be in a position to buy rental property. If you can own rental property, you can shield a great deal of your income. Because what happens is the government calls the fact that you're going to have to paint the property, you're going to have to do improvements, etc. That's what's called deferred maintenance. So that is deductible on there. So even though it is a income producing property and it's going up in value, you are still allowed to depreciate the asset, because as the building ages, it needs more and more and more. It the structure becomes worth less. So you're allowed to do that write-off, and that can shelter a huge amount of your income. So these are just a couple of things on 5-Minute Money that you might want to know about the IRS to help you have more money at the end of the day. I'm Bill Bland. This is 5-Minute Money. Go to 5minutemoney.com and you can see more videos like this about money. And if you want to contact us or have any comments or questions about it, you can email me at 5minutemoney@aol.com. This is Bill Bland signing off, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.